Okay, Ken, so far what we've done is we've gone through and established that societies need to make choices to solve the scarcity problem. And we've said that societies can't get away from this problem.
Nope.
But, of course, what they can do is organise themselves or organise mechanisms which will help solve that problem. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure can. And look, the simplest way to do it is to look at or imagine a continuum, a spectrum of economic systems.
Yeah.
And down one end, say down the left-hand end, is say what we might call pure communism.
Yeah.
Also, we'd call it a command economy.
Command economy.
Or a centrally planned economy, because resources go and areas of production occur according to a planning mechanism. Down the other end of the spectrum, what we'd loosely call, say, pure capitalism, virtually no government control whatsoever, complete market-based allocation of goods and services, etc., etc.
In other words, using or being dependent on the demand and supply.
Totally, on markets themselves.
And effectively on the price mechanism, which we'll have going to spend some time much later.
We will. And look, you can see almost immediately that a pure capitalist economy cannot function because there are certain goods, e.g. public goods, which are requisite to the functioning of our economic system.
Police systems, you can't.
The judicial
I can't
system.
buy an hour of police service.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's right. Because other people are benefiting from that, and why should I as an individual pay for it?
Quite right. But the interesting, if we go back, for example, to say the old USSR,
Yes.
you want to look at communist countries that adopted that essential ideology. Planning. The whole idea is that basically at the top of the tree, the top of the pyramid, if you like, sitting up right at the top of the tree is the General Secretary of the Communist Party.
Yes.
And at various times in Russia, well, the most famous, I guess, was Joseph Stalin. Then we had, of course, in succession, Khrushchev, Brezhnev, Gorbachev, etc., etc. But they basically said, this is what I want to happen. This is what I want to happen. And I want land, labour and capital to go into the production of more guns, more tanks, more planes, essentially.
Right.
And there were historical reasons for Stalin to do that, of course. Cuba adopted a communist country, a communist state. North Korea is very much a centrally planned economy. And there's that inference that if you're going to make sure that resources go where you want them to go, there's a need for dictatorial control.
Yes.
So that's
often
political,
supported by an army.
It's a political byproduct of that. But what we're talking about here is essentially that our given stock of resources go predominantly where the state or the government determine they should go.
Yes. So
down the other end of the spectrum.
So the triangle here is indicating that you've got a top-down process, and there are various layers of decision making, where the factories, etc., at the very bottom, and the politburos up at the top end.
And hence the term command economy, because the commands come from above. And the people down here are commanded what to do.
Whereas in the market system, it's working in a sense the opposite way, because you've got the decisions of consumers working through demand, and the firms producing what consumers want, that dictates that allocation of resources.
It's very neat because we like it, because that's what we've been brought up with.
Yes.
And basically the whole idea is that we'll make the link eventually that when consumer demand for something increases, the price of that item theoretically rises. And of course, as prices rise, it attracts entrepreneurs into that area because they see rising prices as a signal, rising profits.
Absolutely,
So
yes, absolutely.
Really neatly, resources flow in a market economy to where consumers want them to go.
Exactly.
So, and we call that consumer sovereignty. So,
but it's quite clear that markets can't produce all our needs.
No.
And so
there's a role for the public sector.
For the public sector, and we get what we call the most common form of decision-making system, namely a mixed economy.
A mixed economy. Predominantly, perhaps 70 to 75%, or even 80% in the case of America, predominantly free enterprise,
Free
but
enterprise.
with a significant contribution from the public sector or the government.
And so what microeconomics will discuss, or, you know, I mean, economic principles will discuss, is this idea that markets do most of the allocation, but there may be some excesses in those markets because they're controlled by some large companies. So you have a role for the government there. You have, we'll see as well that markets aren't always, you know,
They don't always produce perfect outcomes.
Perfect outcomes, and the government is also needed, therefore, to intervene in those markets, and we'll see as well that governments have to provide these public goods like the police services, etc. And so economics is actually a really vibrant, exciting study because it considers all these different angles.
I love it.
Oh, so do I.
I could talk forever, but we must go.
We must go.
Until next time.
Until next time.
See you, mate.
Thanks.